Good morning as we go to the Chumash of the day. Today is the 6th day. It's Friday. It's the 6th day of the week. And today we learn the Chumash of the 6th portion and the portion of Shemais. And we are holding right now on chapter 4, verse number 18. Vayelech Moshe went. Vayoshev, and he returned al Yeser Chosnei. He returned to Yeser, his father-in-law. And he said to him, Elchana v'shuva el achai. Let me go and let me turn see my brothers, Asher b'Mitzrayim, who are living in Egypt. Let me go see if they're still alive. So Yisrael told Moshe, Lech l'shalom, go in peace. So Rashi says to take leave of him, for he had sworn to him, he made a vow to Yisrael. If you remember a couple of days ago in Rashi, that he made a vow that he would never leave without permission, without asking him permission. So he lived up to his commitment, and he came to Yisrael to ask him. Shiva Shenis and Yisrael, we know, had 7 different names in the Torah. He had Ruel, Yeser, Yisrael, Keni, Chayvev, Chaver, Putiel. So Yisrael had 7 different names in the Torah. Moshe, and God said to Moshe with Midian, when he was still in Midian, Lech Shev Mitzrayim, go and return to Egypt. Ki Mesu Anoshim, Kol Anoshim, because all the people that have died that are out to get you. Who are the people that are out to get him? In the Jewish people, Rashi says, Mihem Dasan Avidim. They were Dasan Avidim. We know Dasan Avidim was out to get Moshe from the beginning of this week's Parsha, and always throughout the journey of the Jewish people. Dasan Avidim challenged Moshe Rabbeinu wherever he turned. And the problem is, Chaimai, they're still alive, because no Dasan Avidim was still alive. El Sheyardu min Hussein, they were very popular and very powerful at the time when Moshe Rabbeinu was then, but now they lost their power. They became poor people, so they lost their power, and they had and Moshe Rabbeinu therefore had nothing to be afraid of them. Verse 20, Vayikach Moshe Ishtei, so Moshe took his wife, Vezbanav and his sons, and he carried them on a donkey. And he brought them back to Egypt. And he came back to Egypt. And Moshe took that stick. So Rashi says, HaChamer, the donkey. This was a very special donkey. This was the Chamer, the same donkey that Avram Avinu used. So Moshe Rabbeinu got inherited the donkey of Avram Avinu. It was given to Yitzchak. Yitzchak gave it to Yaakov. Yaakov gave it to his son Levi, and Levi gave it to his grandson Moshe. So Moshe Rabbeinu had this donkey. And Rashi says that this will be the same donkey the Mashiach will come with. As it says, Ani v'reichav ala chamer. So this is an old donkey. That's why it's taken him long to come around. It's a very old donkey. And he went back to the land. He took the stick. Here we see there's no chronological order, because as in a couple of minutes he didn't go back to Mitzrayim yet. He's going to get stuck in an inn, and a story happens. So therefore, it says he went back, he returned, but he didn't return yet. Verse 21, Moshe, and God said to Moshe, on his way back to Mitzrayim, see all the miracles which I put in your hands. And you'll do this miracle before Pharaoh. But don't worry, I'm going to strengthen the heart of Pharaoh. He's not going to be an easy Parsha. And he's not going to send the people. So Rashi says, "Belechto chu Mitzrayim." You should know that this is the intention. You shall go. You shall be steadfast in your mission. Even though your mission is not going to be easy, don't think you're going to go there and it's going to be 1, 2, 3. You're going to have a lot of resistance. And he ultimately had a lot of resistance, not only from the Pharaoh, but from the Jewish people. To perform my signs to the Pharaoh, and you shall not be afraid of him. He did not say this in reference to the 3 affirmation signs, for he had not commanded that he might do it before Pharaoh. So what are the signs that he said? Because he didn't tell. He said that those 3 things that he told him before, with the snake and then the hand, the leprosy, and the blood. Now he said to do in front of the Jews, but before Israel, in order that they believe him, and they're not fond that he performed them before Pharaoh. Regarding the signs that I did destined to put in your hands in Egypt, such as when the Pharaoh speaks to you, asking you to perform a sign, do not wonder that is written that I have placed, meaning implying the past tense, because this is what it means. When you speak to him, I will have ready placed them in your hands. So don't worry. You're going to have all the powers that you need to do in front of the Pharaoh. You're going to have all the powers that you need. By Yemaita Pari. Because you have to realize also that Moshe Rabbeinu comes to the Pharaoh. I mean, not anybody comes to the Pharaoh. Already Moshe Rabbeinu, God says, don't worry. You're going to come there. You're going to be able to go into the Pharaoh's palace. You're going to go straight to the Pharaoh. How are you going to do that? Nobody gets to the Pharaoh, but you're going to get to the Pharaoh. You're going to see everything's in your power. That's all you got to do is do it. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu did. He got to the Pharaoh. He said what he had to say. He did what he had to do. Everything was there. But you're going to say, tell the Pharaoh. This is what God said. B'ni b'chayri Yisrael. My firstborn son of Israel. So when you hear that his heart is hard and that he refuses to send Israel, thus you shall say to him, B'ni b'chayri. You don't know who you're starting up with. You're starting up with the greatness, my greatness. It's an expression of my greatness, similar to, I too shall make him firstborn. You're starting off with somebody who's my child. This is a simple meaning, but it's Midrashic interpretation. Here the Holy One, blessed be, acknowledge a sale of the bright birthright. Here, B'ni b'chayri Yisrael. Here, the first time that God agrees with Esav's sale. Here is where God says, you're right. I accept the sale that Esav did with Yaakov Avinu. So God says, yes, the sale went through. It went through hundreds of years later. And you shall say, so you should say to him, Shlach es bini, send my son, v'yavdeni, and let him serve it, worship me. But he'll refuse to send them. Behold, your first son will die. In God's name, send my son. So Rashi says this is the last plague. It's not the first plague. But he warned the Pharaoh about it first. Because it was the most severe plague. The plague of the death of the first sons. And that's what Scripture holds. God deals loftily in his powers. Therefore, who is a teacher like him? A man of flesh and blood who seeks to avenge himself against his fellow conceals his plan. So will seek rescue. No, not seek rescue. But the Holy One, blessed be he, deals loftily with his strength. And no one is able to escape his hand, except by returning to him, by repenting. Therefore, he teaches him about the possible punishment and warns him to repent. The Eibishter is not politically correct. God told the Pharaoh right away the ultimate situation. Told him right away the last plague. And warned him the only way you can change is by doing tshuva. And the truth is that God hardens the Pharaoh's heart, shows you how much tshuva he could have done. Because he could have ultimately, that's why the Pharaoh is punished, because even though God hardened his heart, that showed that he could have said no. He could have pushed it and done tshuva. Verse 24, they were on the journey. And they were on the journey, and the Lord met him, and he wanted to put him to death, Moshe Rabbeinu. What does that mean? So he sought Moshe because he had neglected to circumcise his son Eliezer. When he neglected, he said he was to be punished by death. It's taught in the Braisa, Rabbi Yosef, God forbid, Moshe Rabbeinu not neglected, but he reasoned, shall I circumcise and go forth on the road? It will be dangerous for the child for 3 days. So shall I circumcise and wait 3 days? The Holy One blessed be commanded, go to Egypt. So right when the Eibishter commanded him, he had a son, Mazel Tov. He had a child. So now he had a dilemma. What should he do? Should he go right away? Should he leave? Should he circumcise? If he's circumcised, he has to wait. The child's going to be circumcised. He's going on a journey. So he didn't know what to do. So he decided that he would go to Egypt, take his child to Egypt, and circumcise him there. That was his commit. That was his idea. Moshe hurried to Egypt, intended to circumcise upon his return. When then he was punished with death, because first he used himself with the details of his lodging. The problem was that suddenly he decided to stop his journey and to stop into a hotel. So that's why the angel said, "Wait a second, I can stand you in your journey, so you can't circumcise your child, but now you're stopping in a hotel. You're stopping in the Hilton in the desert." So that was the problem. The angel turned into a sort of a serpent and swallowed Moshe from his head to his thighs, and then spit him out and swallowed him from his feet to his private parts. To Peter, therefore, his wife understood that it was because of the failure to perform the circumcision that this occurred. And that's what happened. That's the medrash. So that's why the verse says, next verse, that Tzipora circumcised the child. How did she know? Because she realized that the snake was giving him a message. Tzipora grabbed a sharp stone. She circumcised her child. And she threw the foreskin at his feet. And she said, "You are a bridegroom of blood to me." She threw it. He was half swallowed in. She threw it at the feet of Moshe. She said about her son, "You would have caused that my bridegroom would almost be murdered. You are to me a slayer of my bridegroom." So he released, and the snake released Moshe Rabbeinu. So she said, "You're the bridegroom of the blood concerning circumcision." So she realized that it was totally for that reason. So the angel released himself from the sword. It was not just a snake. Then she understood it's because of the circumcision that he had to slay him. My bridegroom would have been murdered because of circumcision, not because of you. Lamalus, concerning circumcision. Hashem Eladin, so God said to Aaron, verse 27, Lech likras Moshe. So God said to Aaron, go towards Moshe. Hamid Barak, because Aaron was a prophet too. Vayelach, vayifkasheu, bahar alikim. They met at the mountain of God. Vayishaklei, and he kissed him. Vayagid Moshe la'Aaron kol divrei Hashem. And Moshe Rabbeinu told Aaron, "Oh my God, listen, they haven't seen each other for many years, for close to 50, 60 years. All the things that he has commanded. Vayelech Moshe ve'Aaron. Then Moshe and Aaron went together. Vayasufa is called Ziknim and Yisrael, and they assembled all the elders of the children. Vayidaber Aaron is called Dvarim Asher Diber Hashem, and Aaron spoke all the words of Moshe. Vayas Ha'osos L'neihem, and he performed the signs before their eyes. Vayimonam, and the Jewish people believed. Vayishmu, and they heard. Kipakar Hashem as Bnei Yisrael, that the Eibush to remember the Jewish people, the children of Israel. V'chiras Onyon, and the Eibush saw that God saw their affliction. Vayiktu, Vayishtachvu, and they kneel and they prostrated themselves. So here we see that Moshe Rabbeinu did speak in Lashon Hara because the Jewish people believed. They believed in Moshe Rabbeinu's statement. That completes the Chumash of the today. We now go to the Tanya of the day. We are in the middle of chapter 12 of Tanya. So the Alter Rebbe, it remains to be understood. However, why such a lofty person? If a Beinoni never did an Aveda, that's what Alter Rebbe says. Beinoni never does an Aveda. Not the word never did an Aveda, because as we learned, the Rebbe says maybe he could have done an Aveda, did tshuva. He might do an Aveda, but he never does an Aveda. Never does a sin. So why is he a Beinoni? Why isn't he a tzaddik? He never, in this situation right now, in the present situation, he's never sinned. So if he has never sinned, he's a tzaddik. Answer is, after Rebbe says, because the essence and being of the divine soul, which are the 10 faculties of the divine soul. So the three soul, to remind us, the three soul powers of intellect and the 7 emotion faculties are referred to the essence of the divine soul, in contrast to with the soul garments of thought, speech, and action, which serve merely as an outlet, a means of expression of the soul's essential faculties. The soul's essential faculties is Eser Keiches HaNefesh, the 10 faculties of the soul, is 3 intellectual and 7 emotions. And the situation by a Beinoni is Loi lahen halevad hamlucham shalom. Do not hold undisputed sovereignty. Be'ir Aktana, over this small city. Why don't they? What do you mean? I'm not sitting. So why doesn't the godly soul hold total power? I'll explain later. The faculties of the animal soul to exercise some degree control over the body through awakening one's heart's desire for worldly pleasure, in which in turn causes forbidden thoughts to enter the mind. So in essence, in short, since his animalistic soul is still totally there, therefore I could have a moment the capability of a thought of an evil. I can have, because it's my natural disposition maybe to think something negative, but I right away push it off. So that I naturally have the capability of a thought of a negative thought, that is because my nefesh habahamis, my animalistic soul, is still alive and well. And therefore, it can come to my mind. As Alter Rebbe will explain later, the verse says, the verse in the Shema say, don't turn to what you see. That I saw something, that's a natural thing. If I see something and I see it for its physical beauty, that's a natural thing because I see physical beauty. That I continue, I turn to it. That is where the nefesh, that's where the Beinoni says no. So that the natural thought comes to my mind is because my natural side of me is alive and well. My animalistic side of me is alive and well. That I look into it, that I don't turn away from it. And it says, don't turn to what your eye sees. So a tzaddik would never see anything, would never even see anything negative. I do see negative, because I have a negative side to me. But that I turn to it. That is the Beinani. The Beinani never turns to it. The second it comes a thought, he pushes it away. He starts right by thought. The second a thought comes to him to think something negative, to even speak something negative, even to want to do something negative, he pushes it off. But that it comes to him, that's because he has an animalistic soul. So ki'im bi'itim bimuzmanim. There are certain times in a Beinani's life that he can have total domination. A godly soul can have total. And kamei b'shas kishma, which feel when a Jew is davening, when this Jew, this Beinani is davening, is praying, his animalistic soul is gone. Nothing bothers him. He's totally into the mode of prayer. Shishasmechin the godless, because when he davens, it's a supernal intellect above, is a sublime state. It's a time of great illumination in the higher worlds. The Beinani understands that when he prays, it's an unbelievable time. His prayer. And so too in this world, the time of prayer. It's a very special time for every man to ascend higher into the higher worlds. And the Beinani realizes that. And therefore, when the middle man is in the mode of prayer, nothing bothers him. Not outside, not even his nefesh habahamis, not even his animalistic soul. He's totally in the mode of prayer. Because at that time when he's davening, when he's praying, especially when he's saying the Shema, at that time he's totally focused in the spirit of connecting to God, in the greatness of God. And awakens up a great love when he prays. In his right side, and he wants to cleave to God when he prays. And he wants to cleave to God in mitzvahs and Torah with love. So when you do something with love, when the Beinani does something with love, he's totally in love. And when you're in love, nothing in the world gets involved. And therefore, when the Beinani shows his love, his animalistic soul is out. His animalistic soul has no power over him. His animalistic soul is even the potential of thought of negativity. When he's in that mode, when the Beinani is in that mode, he has nothing to worry about. He's like in the mode of a tzaddik, and his animalistic soul is at sleep. This arousal of love for God and its accompanying resolve to adhere to the Torah and mitzvahs and thereby to cleave to him is an essential subject of Shema, which is a biblical commandment enjoined us to recite. We have a mitzvah to recite the Shema, even though the Shema is an expression of love, of our love to God, but it's a mitzvah because we do mitzvahs with love. It's the same thing. It goes together. Because just like we do the Shema, which is an expression of love, of our love to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything is an expression, should be an expression of love to God. Because when we express love to God, especially us, Beinanim, or want to be Beinanim, want to be middle people, when we can do things out of love, this is an important thing, we would be able to put our animalistic soul to sleep. So that's the trick. The trick is to do it out of love. When we do things out of love, if we can create a love to God, then even though we have an animalistic soul within us, we would put him to sleep. Put him in a coma. And that's the power of prayer. And then all the blessings that we say before the Shema and the blessings after the Shema. They're all part of the package deal. They're all part of the creating the love that we should have to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The love that we should have to God. The sages wanted that we should create this whole scenario before the Shema, the Pesukei de Zimra, all these prayers and all these songs and all these expressions. All creates our ava to the Eibishter. Because why did the Eibishter wanted that? Why did the Chazal, the sages wanted? To create this atmosphere. Because when we have love, you'll not look at anything else. Because the problem is when you go away from that love, as the Alter Rebbe is going to soon say, when you close the siddur, when the Beinoni, when the regular Jew closes the siddur, and he goes out into the world, that's when the challenges of his animalistic soul to start thinking and to start, that's where he's at the war. So when he's in davening, he's not at war anymore. Because he reveals his love to God. When you and I reveal my love to God, I'm not at war. I'm at peace. In Achana L'Kishma, which is explained in other places. And when I'm davening, when I'm praying, I'm in that mode of love, then the evil in the left side of my bottle l'tayv is not kaful for bottle l'tayv, is subjugated, nullified to the goodness, the love of God. That spreads into the right part of his heart, which divine soul manifests itself. From the Chabad faculty in his brain, which is bond in the meditation to the greatness of the blessed and of God. So therefore, we as Beinanim want to be middle people, have the capability when we pray to create a moment or an hour, or 45 minutes or 10 minutes or however long it takes to create that bond with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that love to God that puts our animalistic side of us to sleep. Problem is, not when I'm davening. The problem is after I'm davening. But in the state of fears lasts only the duration of the spiritual charge time of prayer. However, after prayer, when the state is a sublimity of the intellect of and say, blessed be parts with the spiritual illumination engendered by prayer, it ceases. That's what happens. What happened is the second I finish davening, and now I've left that realm of love and understanding of God and the contemplating of godliness who creates that love. I've left that realm. And the evil of the animal soul in the left part of the heart awakens. Shalom Aleichem, he's back. He's back. He's happy that you finished davening. He's happy. He was asleep. He doesn't want to be asleep. He wants to get to the world. He wants to enjoy the world. So he's happy. He's happy. You finished davening. That's why we're always in a rush to get out of shul. You're not finished about me saying, I'm sleeping. I want to get out of shul. I want to wake up. Get out of shul. Then my animalistic soul wakes up in the left side of the heart. And then automatically he wants to have taivus. What's for breakfast? He wants to have Eilam Hazeh. He wants to have physicality. Starts to desire things. And now I have to struggle. How do I struggle with that desire? Should I think about it? Should I talk about it? Should I do it? And now the struggle of the Beinoni starts again. Because now his godly soul and his animalistic soul are both alive. They're both awake. And he has to continue to fight with his animalistic soul to not to think so much, not to talk so much about it, not to surely do so much. That's why the Gemara says people should daven all day. But we can't. because we're human beings, and now we need to go to work. Work doesn't only mean go to work, day-to-day job. We need to work for the body. The body needs its taivas. The body needs its things. The body needs its also its purpose. Why? Because my nefesh habahabis, I might have put it to sleep, but it's still there, and it's always going to be there, and therefore it's always going to be a struggle. I wish I can pray all day and all night. That completes the Tanya of the day. Today is the 20th day of the month, which actually this day is a special day in the Hebrew calendar. The 20th day of Tevis is the yahrzeit of the Rambam. Maimonides' yahrzeit today. So, may his memory be a blessing for all of us. Today is his yahrzeit. May he be an ambassador of goodness and kindness for all Jews, as he was the codifier of Jewish law through all Jewish people. He wrote the Beitz Abchira. He wrote the Yad HaChazaki. He wrote an interpretation to the whole Torah. And so Maimonides should hopefully his memory should be, and we should continue to live with Maimonides, and he should be an ambassador of goodness and kindness for Klal Yisrael. Today, the Tillim of the day, the 20th day, is chapter 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, and 103. So 97 to 103, and you would do the chitas of the day. In Mitzvah tomorrow is Shabbos. I hope that you do your chitas by yourself. You do the chitas of the day, and you complete the first parsha of Shemais, and also continue in the learning of Tanya and Tillim. And I wish you all, everybody, a great Shabbos, a wonderful Shabbos, a happy Shabbos, a healthy Shabbos. And Amir Hashem, we'll see you all on Sunday morning when we will continue, at 8 a.m., we'll continue the chitas of the day. Have a beautiful, a wonderful, happy, and healthy